Welcome to the Name of Podcast. My name is Sierra.
I'm Leah.
And today we're going to be talking about standards.
Mm-hmm.
Leah, do you mind reading us the definition of standards, please?
Yup. So I have the definition on my handy-dandy phone. Okay, so standards, this is for personal standards, can also be thought of as your personal code. So the rules that you set for yourself and follow in your life. And then I guess standards in general would be rules that you set for the people around you, the environment around you, life in general. And that's standards.
Beautiful. Thank you for reading that, Leah.
You're very welcome.
Okay, so do you have any specific standards you think that you set for yourself?
Yeah, I think I do. I think one of my standards every day is to read the Word.
Okay, so you have daily standards.
I have daily standards.
Oh.
To read the Word every day. Doesn't mean my standards are like met every day, but
it's what's expected.
yeah, it's like what I put on myself to like, this is your rule of life, rule of thumb. So read the Word every day. Drink as much water as possible. Or if I'm going to be dehydrated if not. And my vitamins, actually. Doing vitamins every single day.
Those are really good standards, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like those are really good standards that prolong your life and make it better.
I hope so. I really hope so, because that was the goal.
And do you think your standards have changed, like, as you are getting older?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 10 years ago, I was 15. I probably didn't really have many standards besides going to school and doing my homework, working at Wawa.
Do you think you didn't have many standards because you didn't have, like, value anything, really?
Yeah, I think, like, just my life in that time. Like, for example, 15. What are you doing when you're 15? You're in school, and the biggest thing in your life is school, you know? Or boys, or friends, or whatever, you know? But as my life has gone on, my desires have changed, my goals have changed, my circumstances have changed, so my values change. So, like, my values in high school were probably putting, like, school and friendship and hanging out as a top priority, you know? And then, so everything I centered my life around, all my standards, my rules for myself, my personal codes, had to do with that. Like, hang out with my friends on the weekend, make sure I text people, make sure I'm Snapchatting, make sure I'm whatevering, you know? Whereas, like, now, like, my values are a lot more not as, like, worldly, I guess. They're more like, you know, honor God, honor my husband, honor my family, myself, and my community. So now my standards are centered usually around that. Yeah. And you?
Honestly, I never thought of, like, my daily standards. Like, I kind of have personal standards.
Yeah.
But I never really was like, or thought of, I should say, like, my daily things. And I really like that, and I want to incorporate that into my life. So thank you for that piece of advice, because I'm going to take it and run.
You're very welcome. But I think also, I don't think anybody thinks of their life as standards.
I mean, no.
Because I don't think of it like that. I don't think of, like, here are my standards for the day. I think they're just things like...
But you expect of yourself.
Yeah, like things I'm putting as, like, priority in my life. Because I want to achieve a certain thing, you know? Or I just want a certain outcome out of things, you know? And I think we all have that. I just don't think we think of it as, like, standards, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yes. But I'm literally trying to think, like... I try to at least do my devotions.
Yeah.
I'm bad at doing that. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I'm really not that good at, like, doing that daily.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, okay.
I don't have daily standards.
No, you hustle. You hustle a lot. You work hard.
I work hard, but it's not, like, a daily thing.
But it's consistent.
No, but I like that I don't have it. or that I'm recognizing that I don't have.
Okay,
Like
that's
I don't want to like force my standard or daily expectation of myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't have that.
Yeah.
Like I never really was like.
Yeah.
Like and I want to adopt that.
That's good.
And and it's perfect.
Acknowledgement.
It's the new year,
New standards.
New daily standards. But I definitely have like personal standards and like dating standards, and I do think that it comes from like the things we value and our goals. Like when I was younger, like 10 years ago, I wasn't really thinking about anything.
Yeah.
Only standard I really had for myself probably was I don't want to have children as a teenager. Yeah. Like most of my family. Sorry.
No, that's real.
But like that was like my biggest like thing and my biggest fear. So like I always set myself in that kind of way. Like I'm not going to be dating boys like crazy or doing things with boys.
That's actually really deep.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we set standards for ourselves that we don't realize we're setting based off of our experiences.
Yeah.
That was you. Don't pretend like I came up with that. That was you.
Yeah, but you noticed it. I wasn't saying that.
But I think that's good.
That
like you said that, and that's what I heard. Is that like, I don't think you woke up every day and was like, let's not get pregnant. Yeah. Like because I don't think you were that type of person anyway. You know what I mean? So, which is good, But, like, because of your experiences, because of what you went through, because of what you've seen others go through, you're like, this is a standard I have for myself, not to be in that circumstance, Exactly. So then you put yourself in certain positions to not do that.
Yes, and I don't put myself in positions to get pregnant, I guess.
That's so good.
Yeah.
There's so many things I'm thinking about.
Go ahead.
But it's because we have an episode coming up.
Oh, okay.
So I don't want to give it away, but just know that it'll all make sense next week.
So tune in and subscribe.
Wow, that's so good. Oh, if you only knew what was going on in my head.
I really don't think a lot of people probably don't have them.
No, yeah.
Kind of just make a to-do list.
I think, and that's what I think it is. I think it's your to-do list. Like, your standards are probably your to-do list.
Yeah, but I do really love the idea of daily standards. Because, like, for me, like, personal standards, like, hold, like, a big weight for me. So, like, if I have a standard in dating or a standard for myself life-wise, which are connected to, like, my values and goals, that doesn't, like, change. Like, it's unwavering. And obviously, like, I'm not going to be perfect, and, like, I'm maybe not going to do something, or I am going to do something, and it wasn't part of, like, my foundational standards. Yeah. But they're pretty firm. I feel like standards are pretty firm. Like, you're not going to derail from that. So that's why I like the idea of daily standards, because I think standards are stronger than a to-do list. So
that's so good. Standards, whether they're personal or they're just in general, like, I think they root from the things that you hold closest to your heart, like your values and the things that you're really convicted by. But on the spiritual side of, like, as Christians, I think it's what we put on the pedestal that set our standards. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if we're putting God on the pedestal where he should be, then our standards usually align with that. They might not be perfect, but they usually align with that. But if we're putting something else in that position, then our standards are going to line up with that.
Yeah, that's good. So speaking of pedestal, I feel like a lot of people put many different things onto their pedestal. Like, yes, the ultimate pedestal should be God. And I think a lot of Christians and people know it should be that, and sometimes we get consumed with life, and it's normal, like, that happens, where we kind of put God and his, like, standards that he would like for us to live by on a back burner, and just be consumed with, like, I don't know, like, dating, something like that.
It's so true.
And I feel like I'm trying to think if dating should really be on a pedestal, but, like, a smaller one. Like, how important is dating? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a good question, because I think in our hearts, we know that eventually the person, you know, that we're going to end up with does have a pedestal.
Yes.
It's not the ultimate pedestal, but they do have a pedestal.
Okay.
Like, in my life, God is the ultimate pedestal, but my husband comes right after.
Okay, so it's like God's pedestal.
My husband. Yeah. Like, here, I would say he's pretty up there. The Lord is pretty up there.
Okay.
And then my husband, you know?
Yeah.
But because I'm biblically taught to honor my husband. You know what I mean? Like, he should be the example of Christ in my life. A physical example of Christ in my life, you know? But I think it can get confusing when you don't have that knowledge and that discernment.
Yeah.
And when you're not really putting your pedestal, like the person on your pedestal in the right place. You know what I mean? Because if God's on your pedestal, but sometimes like you kind of push him off a little bit sometimes, or, you know, he's like one leg on there, one leg off of it, you know what I mean? Then there's room for other things to get onto there too. And especially with dating, like, that's why your solo era is so important, because like that's where you really learn what should be priority, you know?
Yeah.
Because like if it wasn't for my solo era, I wouldn't have realized that I put men on a pedestal, and I put what they think and how they see me and everything like that.
And that changes
everything.
You value.
It changes my values, my standards. Like when that was my everything, my standards for who I was dating were low. Like, I was okay with being with a guy who did not treat me right. But that's because his words and his affirmation meant the world to me. But when I flipped that around and I was like, no, his words are not everything to me. God's words are everything to me. I started to realize my value and my standards changed.
Yeah. And with putting God on a pedestal and you, like, aligning yourself with him, you also like feel a different love you've never felt, and you feel like the love that you're getting from someone else, really, you can feel the, like, what's the word, like, you just feel like that it's not for you and it's not good for you because of how sweet God is to you.
Yeah, you have a good judgment.
Yeah,
of real love.
Like, there's no way this is what God has for me.
Oh no, yeah, because once you know real love, like, how can you lower your standards?
Yeah.
You know? So, that being said, with Valentine's Day coming up, I feel like a lot of people sometimes jump into things really fast, or they rush things, because, you know, Valentine's Day, who doesn't want to have, like, a date on Valentine's Day or whatever? But it should be a really good time to reflect, like, oh, am I pushing myself into a relationship with someone faster than I should because my standards are lower? You know what I'm saying?
Are you lowering your standards to get a Valentine's date or to have this date?
Yeah.
Or is this really something you should be going for?
And on a bigger scale, are you lowering your standards to get something in general? You know, like, are you
rush the process?
Yeah. Are you lowering your standards to find a husband?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Are you lowering your standards because you want to find a husband? Are you lowering your standards because you want to find a boyfriend? Don't.
No, let's not do that, because it's a waiting game. You're going to wait for your husband, and it's going to be worth it when you don't lower your standards.
Yeah.
Or you don't go rushing into things trying to find that husband. I think also, like, why your soul era is so important is to find what your standards are. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you're not too keen with Jesus and you haven't really met him yet and he's not on your pedestal. Like, you have to go searching for these things and develop your standards in a positive way. Because if you don't know Jesus, I feel like it's hard to find, like, a high standard for yourself. Why? Like we said before, like, his love is very sweet, very peaceful. And when you know him enough, you don't want to disappoint him. And that just automatically brings your standards up, even personally, like we said before, and in dating. So, like, what are some dating standards you think the girl should have based off like the Bible?
Well, based off of the Bible, he has to love Jesus.
Okay.
That is a standard.
That's a good standard.
I think before you get married, this man has to love Jesus. Why? Because he is called to love you like Jesus loves his bride. So if he doesn't know how to love the bride, like biblically, he won't actually know how to love a bride. You know?
That's good.
So he has to know Jesus. He has to love Jesus. Biblically, respect. You know, respect is a big thing. Like, sometimes people think that standards for Christian women are like the same as like lowering our standards because they hear submit to your husband, you know? But that's
controversial on the internet.
That's controversial. Yeah, I'm going to submit to my husband because that's what I'm called to do, but that doesn't mean I let him disrespect me. It's not the same.
It's not like I walk all over you type of submit.
No. And that's the thing. When my husband loves Jesus, he's loving me well, which makes it easy to submit to him. But if he doesn't love Jesus, then if I'm submitting to him, then that kind of is where the blurred lines of disrespect, walking all over, manipulation could get into. But if my husband loves Jesus, he loves me well.
And it's hard to submit to someone who doesn't love you well.
No, I mean...
You don't want to. You wouldn't want to.
You don't submit to Jesus unless you know him. You know? Like... you don't submit...
Leah knows when I'm like, yeah.
You don't give your life and submit yourself to Jesus until you feel him tangibly in your heart calling to you and you are aware of his love and what he's done, right? Like, you're aware of the love that he has for you. You're aware of the standard that he has you, you know? Like, he created you. You're the apple of his eye. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You know, those are his standards for you. And when you know that, like, that it's over. Like, you know what I mean? So, if your husband doesn't know Jesus, I feel like I said that like 7 times. If your husband doesn't know Jesus, like, he also won't understand the standard that the Lord has for you. Like, you're the Lord's daughter. The Lord's trusting your husband to like take care of you.
What do you think respect like looks like? Is it like a personal, like not personal, but like how you show respect is the standard, or is it how he respects you is your standard? Or is it both?
Both. You have to be in a spot to be able to, like, where your standards are, like, being a respectful person. You know what I mean? Because if you're not in the right spot mentally, which is why your solo era is so good, because you have to get to a point where you're ready to go into a relationship, where you're ready to get married, whatever, and your standards are up there, because if your values and everything, your goals and everything are not healthy, your standards are not going to be healthy. You're going to put unhealthy expectation on people. You know what I mean? So, like, I can say, oh, Christian has to respect me, but if I'm not in a healthy mindset, the way he respects me might not be what actual respect is. It could look like, I need him to agree with me all the time. I need him to be a yes man. I need him to buy me whatever I want. I need him to whatever. And that's not respect. That's not love. That's my unhealthy expectation that I'm putting on him because I am not in a healthy mindset yet. What is an intention you're going to name for yourself this season?
I'm definitely going to do daily standards. I really love that. And yeah, I'm going to do that. Oh, I just had an idea. What if? I mean, it's kind of like a to-do list, but I'm going to call them standards because they really are stronger than a to-do list. But I could do an Instagram day in my life of daily standards, like on the stories.
That's good.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah, you should do
So stay tuned, guys. Or not stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram so you can see my daily standard. And Leah should do one too. After me. Just saying. And you guys can do it too. Thank you guys for tuning in to Name of Standards. Hope you enjoyed. Follow us everywhere. Listen to our podcast.
Everywhere.
Bye.
Bye.